कभी करती हैं मुलाकातें, कभी करती हैं मुलाकातें, कभी यादों में बरसातें, किताबें करती हैं बातें, किताबें करती हैं बातें। मन की गहरी झील में कूद जाती हैं कभी, सोच के दरिया के संग संग बहती जाती हैं कभी। चाहे शाम हो या हो रातें, किताबें करती हैं बातें।
Good evening. We are here this evening to discuss translation, language and the politics of language. I hope you enjoy the show. With me is Dr. Harish Trivedi, former professor of English, Delhi University. He's also worked a lot in translation studies. And Ms. Sheila Reddy, who was former books editor of Outlook magazine. She is at the moment writing a book herself. When we talk about the politics of language, what exactly comes to mind?
The politics of language is played out in many domains, in many areas, in different idioms. In India, ever since independence, it's been the fact that English was allowed to continue through a constitutional provision as the official language of India, while Hindi was also adopted by the Constituent Assembly as the Hindi was the official language and English was the alternate official language allowed to continue for 15 years initially. But as we know, the way things have developed, there was some opposition, especially in the South, to Hindi being adopted as the exclusive official language, replacing English. And ever since then, the way it's played out is that while English has remained the language of privilege, the language of the ruling elite, and while English has expanded to some extent, it has been found that most Indians still function in their own regional languages. And while English has increased in numbers and in influence, the regional languages, particularly Hindi, too have increased their domain. So there has been growth simultaneously. At the same time, there is some contested space as to which language is actually an enabling language, which is the disabling language.
Is there a disabling language?
Yeah, there is a disabling language.
Which would be a disabling
For example, 2/3 of the population of India is supposed to be literate and 1/3 illiterate. If these people who are very poor, who are at the bottom of the pile, are going to become literate, and if they are going to gain some kind of empowerment through their use of language, which language should they learn? First of all, there seems to be a rush, there seems to be some kind of an indoctrination in the minds of some people at least, that if they learn English, they will be empowered, and if they learn the regional language, they will be disempowered.
We are talking more, not so much about enabling and disabling, but more about empowering and less empowering languages.
In that sense, enabling.
That is true. As one who has been working in the English language media and who has extensive knowledge and grasp of the Indian languages, of at least some of the southern Indian languages, would you say that there is a change in the way that we look at language politics, or has it just sort of been stuck in time?
I'd like to tell you that when I was growing up in Hyderabad, there was such a passion among the middle class for learning English and to make sure that the children were educated in English, that my parents actually took me out of an English medium school which was teaching in Telugu, because they were so upset that there was Telugu going on in the classroom. So they removed me from there and put me in a convent school where you only learnt English, and there was no question of anyone speaking in Telugu. So there was this forcible separation from your mother tongue, and I don't think I'm the only one who had that, because anyone who could only speak in English was more respected at that time than people who were conversant in Telugu, you know. So it was considered very high status if your children didn't speak in Telugu.
Did not speak.
Did not
it wasn't good enough to speak in English as well as in Telugu. You just had to forget your mother tongue in order to get ahead in life.
You know, my children only speak in English. They can't speak.
So there was a kind of deliberate, you know,
turning back
on your mother tongue.
Thing.
Yeah.
And it sort of, you know, we'd come back from the boarding school, and then there would be all this thing that, you know, these people can't speak Telugu, and it was, I thought it was only in the south, but I remember a friend of mine in Delhi, he was saying that when Safdarjung colony was first built and all these elite people moved there, in the village he heard some people saying, इनके कुत्ता भी English में बात करते हैं.
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. What a put down. So that's snobbery.
Yes.
I mean, this is in the same country, living adjacent to each other.
That's right.
This is the subaltern making fun of the elite and getting back at them.
That's
and their privilege.
But the subaltern, that's always, making fun has always been the weapon of the subaltern.
That's all they can do.
And for the powerless in any form.
That's all they can do. And the elite still don't care. Their dogs still bark in English.
That's right.
I worked for the English language media for 20 years. And one of the things that we kept saying is that our newspaper proves that language is no barrier to communication, because the way that we in India use English is it's a different way, and you know, it's not grammatical all the time. We make our own grammar, we make our own words. So we have, of course, changed English to make it an Indian English, and that it's not even one Indian English. It's in the east you get one Indian English, in the south you get another, in the Hindi belt you get another. So we keep changing, and I think that is how we communicate, by bringing in the flavors of the mother tongue into whatever language.
You know, this is sometimes exaggerated. Sometimes what is actually mistake, what is actually error, is valorized as a variety of Indian English.
Yes.
You know, this happens, for example, in lots of pidgin varieties of English that one hears all the time in countries like the West Indies. There are many countries there, of course, in countries of Africa. And they speak only English. And nobody else understands their English outside their own countries, outside their own continents. So for us to claim that we speak a variety of local English with a sense of pride can also actually work against us. I mean, look at the call center business. It was hailed as a great Indian triumph. All the call centers have now gone away to Philippines.
No, but
can I
think we are moving away from the point.
Nobody understands that.
No,
can I say something
sure,
about this? I
do have a comment on what you said.
Yeah, I want to say, you know, I feel that in Hindi also there's been a lot of absorbing of English. There used to be a time only up to the last decade when people used to be comfortable reading in Hindi newspaper only up to college, school level. The minute they went to college, it was considered very
low grade
to be still reading a Hindi paper. They had to subscribe to an English newspaper, whether or not. But there have been all these mass circulation Hindi papers that have come that have totally changed the way the local readers are relating to the Hindi papers, and they are sort of taking in a lot of English words, sort of informalizing the language, and also doing a lot of public service in the sense that, you know, they advertise jobs from all over India in the Hindi paper, which will attract college people.
Yeah.
So they have done a great job of enhancing pride in the local language.
Absolutely. If I may contextualize this, just a moment, if I may contextualize this happened with the coming of the commercial TV, it seems to me.
Well, you know, language does change, I believe, and I think language needs to change according to whatever inputs is coming in. And if the input in the Caribbean or wherever you think they speak English which nobody understands other than themselves, then it's fine, because it's their local language. If they understand,
I feel just like English, Hindi Hindi is very good at absorbing new
Yeah.
words.
Exactly.
It's very elastic. It takes in a lot. And now that they've got over the hang up, and they're much more laid back about what is English and what is Hindi, the headlines have become like half English if you read them.
And the English newspaper headlines are half Hindi.
Half Hindi. So it's become a nice amalgam.
So we do have
I
the
think
give and
it's a far
take.
more relaxed situation. Languages have learned to live with each other
Yes.
because they've realized that the old snobbery is now eroded to a very large extent.
That's right.
And therefore, it's a very good idea for us to have 100 languages blooming, or at least 20 languages blooming. Not all of them can bloom, and to exist peacefully with each other. And the market will decide, functionality will decide, empowerment will decide as to which languages will go ahead of the others.
Which is the danger? If the market decides which language will live and which language will die, then I think there's a huge problem facing us, because markets, we know, have their own logic, and that is not the logic of culture or the logic of ethics or the logic of tradition. So in 1961, when we listed our languages, there were 1652 or such mother tongues. Now that has come down, because we have been losing languages. We have been losing languages because we have been moving away from less empowered language, or a powerless language, let's just say, to a more powerful language. And Hindi and English are not just the two powerful languages. There are many other power languages within each area. Telugu is a power language, Bengali is a power language, the 22, 24 languages that are the accepted as regional languages are power languages in that sense. So there are language refugees who come in from, say, smaller languages, hoping to get a job, learning, instead of learning English.
What is meant by power? Power is economic power, which everybody wants.
Yeah.
If somebody is landless and without a job, and if they feel that by learning a bigger language, they will be economically better off. That's what's meant by economic power and market.
Absolutely.
And that force cannot be denied. Market not in the globalization sense, in the wrong sense of imposition.
I understand.
But popular will, democratization.
Yeah, that's true. One thing, we have very little time, so before we wind up, just wanted to bring in translation a bit, because we all deal with translation to a certain extent. Of course, a lot of mediocre literature also gets a lot of prominence because it is in English, because they have the big publishing houses behind them. Whereas the Indian language publishers don't have the money power. I don't know why, because they do make a lot of money. But the price of books, if you look at the price of Indian language books and the price of English language books, it gives you an idea of the difference, in attitude. So just wanted to talk a bit about translation and whether well, let's start with you. What do you think translation is doing at the moment, I mean, with Indian literature?
Yeah, I had gone to Calcutta a few years ago, and I'd been talking to the people on the who are Bengali publishers, and I heard something which really surprised me. He said the publishing in regional language in fiction in Bengali had come down drastically, and they only were publishing non-fiction books in Bengali.
That's not true, though. No, maybe that particular publisher, because maybe.
But the general idea I'm getting from Indian publishing is that ever since TV soap operas have taken over, it has hit the fiction market, because the magazines have also shut down. So the market for fiction and literature in regional languages has shrunk considerably since even in the last 50 years than what it used to be. And so now there is even more pressure that they find markets
outside of their language. Yeah, there is this you are walled in by your language to a certain extent, so you need to reach outside of your wall and get
There are two ways of looking at it. Obviously, if we have good things, a magazine like this projecting literature from the Indian languages for English language readers who are not only ignorant, but who are smugly ignorant,
right,
who think that nothing exists outside
right.
English.
Right.
So there is
right.
a great corrective.
Right.
At the same time, I go back to a point made by Ayappa Panikkar, the great Ayappa Panikkar, poet and translator. He said, no, it's not our job to translate into English. It's our job to translate from English and all the world literatures into our own language so as to enrich the stock of books in our own language and to train the reader in our own languages to become more sophisticated, become more cosmopolitan. So it seems to me that it can work both ways.
Yes,
and our translations into English don't work. They don't travel. They haven't made a
I think
change.
they do. I think now there has
Really?
there has been a shift because big publishers like Penguin are now getting into translation. So now, as of today, it has changed. But earlier, of course, there was Macmillan doing a lot of translation. There's OUP now has
they
also
don't travel
started
abroad
translation.
is what I mean.
Well, maybe they have started
We
to
read it
right now.
ourselves. Yeah, we read it ourselves.
We are not small.
Not
We
small,
are a
yeah.
huge subcontinent, and if we understand each other, if a Bengali audience understands a Tamil author, that's fine for me. We don't really have to reach out to the Western world.
It'll be
So
even better if it were in Tamil or Bangla, the translation. That's what I'm saying.
there was that Adan Pradan
Yes,
thing earlier,
exactly.
so which for some reason is
It's continuing.
Is
It's
it continuing?
continuing,
Okay,
yeah,
I don't see that anymore. So I'm not sure that
And the
it
Sahitya
is.
Academy is doing a lot.
Yeah, Sahitya
that's
Academy
right,
has
yeah.
been doing a lot, but so I
The
think just
quality of translation though leaves a lot.
very important.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
It is so important
That
to have-
it does a disservice to the book, in fact, so that when eventually some expert or some more accessible translator arrives, it's already the field has been ruined by bad translation.
No. You can always do better. No,
Yeah.
bad novels do not ruin the field for good novels.
They don't, but they don't ruin it completely, but they ruin it temporarily.
Basically what works is you treat it as a new work. Don't treat it as a translation, but treat it as a new work, and fresh readers come to
That's a
it.
completely different debate altogether.
I know. There's so many
translate,
theories
yes,
surrounding
so
that.
many things that we
Absolutely.
need to look at. But do we have solutions? Do we have one-line solutions quickly?
No, I don't
have
think so.
the solutions to all the problems of the world in some other program.
I think basically the way is to understand each other more through
Exactly.
translation. India is a language of India is a country of many languages, so we need to do that, and it is happening now finally in the bigger publishing world as well. So thank you.
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you.
नमक दुख है धरती का और उसका स्वाद भी। पृथ्वी का 3 भाग नमकीन पानी है और आदमी का दिल नमक का पहाड़। कमज़ोर है दिल नमक का, कितनी जल्दी पसीज जाता है, जब गड़ जाता है शर्म से, जब फेंकी जाती हैं थालियाँ दाल में नमक कम या ज़रा तेज़ होने पर। वो जो खड़े हैं ना सरकारी दफ्तर, खाली नमकदान है, शाही नमकदान है, बड़ी नफासत से छिड़क देते हैं हर दम हमारे जले पर नमक। जिनके चेहरे पर नमक है, पूछिए उन औरतों से, कितना भारी पड़ता है उनको उनके चेहरे का नमक। जिन्हें नमक की कीमत करनी होती है अदा, उन नमक हलालों से रंज रहता है महासागर। दुनिया में होने न दी उन्होंने क्रांतियाँ, रहम खा गए दुश्मनों पर। गांधी जी जानते थे नमक की कीमत, और अमरूदों वाली मुनिया भी। दुनिया में कुछ और रहे न रहे, रहेगा नमक। ईश्वर के आंसू और आदमी का पसीना, यही वो नमक है कि जिससे थिराई रहेगी ये दुनिया। दूसरी कविता है नमस्कार 2064। नमस्कार 2064, नमस्कार पानी, कैसे हो, इन दिनों कहाँ हो। नमस्कार मेपल के पत्तों, तुमको बर्फ़ की शक्ल याद है ना। दूर वहाँ उस पहाड़ की चोटी पर उसका घर था। कभी कभी घाटी तक आती थी, मनिहारिन सी अपनी टोकरी उठाए। दिन भर कहानियाँ सुनाती थी परियों की, कैसे तुम भूल गए उसको। नमस्कार नदियों, दुबली कितनी हो गई हो, आँखों के नीचे पसर आए हैं साए, क्या स्वास्थ्य अच्छा नहीं रहता? स्वास्थ्य केंद्र चल तो रहा है, कैसा है पीपल का पेड़ और ढाबा? कई बरस पहले मुझे ट्रेन में एक लड़का मिला था, उसकी उन आँखों में इस पूरी दुनिया की बेहतरी का सपना था। क्या तुमने उसको कहीं देखा? उसके ही नाम एक चिट्ठी है, एक शुभकामना संदेश मंगल ग्रह का, चांद की मुहर उस पर है, आई है कोरियर से लेकिन पता है अधूरा, मोबाइल नंबर भी है आधा मिटा हुआ, क्या मिट्टी कर लेगी इसको रिसीव उसकी तरफ से? आओ अंगूठा लगाओ मिट्टी रानी, नमस्कार। कि अच्छा है कम से कम तुम हो पीछे पीछे दूर तक मेरे उड़ती हुई।
I am Rohit. I write poetry in English and I do translations from Telugu to English. I have been writing poetry since 6 years. Here I am reading 3 translations of a poet, Ismail. పల్లెలో మా పాత ఇల్లు, మనుషులు మారిపోయారు, మన్ను మాత్రం మారలేదు, గోడలు కూలిపోయాయి, చెట్లు మొలిచాయి, చెట్టును వాటేసుకొని పట్టు వదలని తీగ మా తాతగారి ఆత్మ. Here is the translation. Our old house in village. People changed, but the soil remained the same. The walls slowly crumbled. Some plants started growing here. A tendril hugged the plants tightly, my grandfather's soul. Here is another poem by the same poet, Gali. చెట్టుకు తలనిండా పిట్టలు, రాత్రికి తలనిండా చుక్కలు, నాకేమీ వద్దు, గాలిలా రికామీగా తిరుగుతాను. విండ్. Tree had head full of birds, sky has head full of stars. I don't want any. Like wind, I roam carelessly. And here is another poem by the same poet, Ismail. పిల్లి. ఒకరు చెబితే వినను, ఒకరికి చెప్పను, మాటలు వ్యర్థం, మౌనం నా సంకేతం. మూషికాల సంగతంటారా, ముడుచుకొని కళ్ళు మూసుకు పడుకుని కలల్లో పారాడే ఎలకల్ని వేటాడడంలో మాధుర్యం మీకేం తెలుసు? అండ్ ద ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద పోయం. I listen to no one. I don't talk with anyone. Words are of no use. Only the silence is my symbol. And you are asking about rats? As I curl, closing eyes, when I sleep, as I hunt mice that roam in dreams, you don't know how wonderful that feels. Here I am reading 2 of my poems. Rain. This summer is a hard one. Sun opened its eye wide. Vapors hissed on roads. The wind god flapped his burning wings. Sky like an endless blue desert. White clouds like destitute camels. Mirages pooled in throats. And as I said before, this summer is a hard one. But last night it was too silent that even a fish scream could be heard. A forgotten smell wavered in air like flag. Secret, silent, still, cold, calm and dark the night is. The starless sky cracked a serene smile and a violent rain trespassed in town. The next day, those who were not aware of the yesterday's rain, who still dreamed of summer winds and hot days, woke to realize that they woke in another dream. Here is another poem, A Note to My Room. It is the living eye of a dead dictator, its wall the crumbling canine of aged tiger, its door is the wing of a butterfly, its window the mouth of the blue god. A queasy silence sits in the room like fluid in sick mother's womb. When the papers of a book flutter, a song ripple and loneliness withers. When a music from outside seeps in, a lotus blooms or a frog plops into pond. When the sky shrinks to render rain, room sinks like ferry in the middle of an ocean. Yet most of the times a queasy silence stays in the room. When someone lights the room, all retinas in the corners restrain. A lion wakes in the middle of nightmare and hides its face with shame. A frightened snake sheds its skin with shiver. A life escapes into depths of flesh. War cry quiver. Streams look back. The lyric forgets its music, and a goat's head falls to ground as a sacrifice to god of sleep.